Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today I will show you how to graph a cosine function. And before we begin to graph a cosine function, let's go over the parent function of cosine function. So here's the parent of cosine function. Parent of cosine function does not have any phase shift. The amplitude is 1 and the period is 2 pi. The period go from 0 to x to 2 pi. Okay, and the amplitude is also 1 because there's no number in front of cosine, and we're going to assume that to be 1. All right, so let's sketch it real quick. So here is our x and y axis. We know that the amplitude is -1 and 1, and for the period it go from 0 to 2 pi. 1 pi, 2 pi. I usually sketch the cosine graph. I'm just drawing the box to represent one period of this cosine function. For cosine, let's divide it into 4 sections. And it looks something like this. It sort of looks like a U and also look like a V at the same time, but for cosine function, one period will look something like this. Okay, so now let's begin graphing this equation right here. So as we know that cosine function start at 0 and end at 2 pi, we'll set up the same way. So 0 to 2 pi. Now the middle portion right here will have 6x plus pi over 6. Before, we only got x in the middle because cosine of the parent function only got x. But in this case, this function has 6 multiplied by x plus pi over 6. So we have to put this whole thing in the middle, in between from 0 to 2 pi. By doing this, this will take care of your phase shift for the function. And it will also give you an estimate of where the period is begin and end. So let's begin on how to solve for x. So first, let's distribute the 6 in here. So 6x plus pi, 2 pi. So I just did that. Now we're going to subtract pi for everything. Okay, 0 minus pi is equal to negative pi. Less than or equal to 6x less than or equal to negative 2. Oh, I'm sorry. So 2 pi minus pi is just going to be pi. So now we need to divide it by 6 for both sides, for all the side. So negative pi over 6, 2x, 2 pi over 6. I'm going to show you how to find the period as well. So the period for cosine and sine have the same formula. It's 2 pi over b. Our b in this case is 6. So 2 pi over 6. This is equal to pi over 3. So the period for this particular function is pi over 3. This is A, this is B, this is C, and this is D. Okay, so we have a period of pi over 3. Now, when you do this portion right here, this take care of the function phase shift. So if you look at the equation itself, we know that the function is shift left by pi over 6 unit, which is right here. So this one right here indicate that the function have been shifted left by pi over 6. And we have the vertical shift, which right here, which represent up by 3 unit. So let's plot the graph. Okay, so we have up 3, so 1, 2, 3. The period is going to be 2, so 3 plus 2, that will give us 5, and 3 minus 2, that will give us 1. So that is right there. Okay, the graph will go from negative pi over 6 to pi over 6. So that's represent one period of that. So I'll have something like this. negative pi over 6 to pi over 6. Okay, and I will also draw the box so you can see that one period of this graph, like what is that going to look like? We can always draw it in more than one period, and I'll show you that in a later portion of this video. So again, for a cosine function, let's divide it into 4 equal parts. So the graph will look something like this. So as you can see right here, it's shifted to the left by negative pi over 6. So you don't have to scale it by hand. This one is sort of taking care of your first period right here. If you want to add in another period right here, it's pretty much really easy. So where we left off is pi over 6, right? The period for this function is pi over 3. All you need to do is just take pi over 6 plus another period, which is pi over 3, very straightforward. Since pi over 3 and pi over 6 does not have same common denominator, we're going to make them have same common denominator by multiply 2 on top and 2 at the bottom for the pi over 3. So pi over 6 plus 2 pi over 6, which is equal to 3 pi over 6, equal to pi over 2. Okay, so pi over 2, which is going to be around here. And again, you can divide this section into 4 equal parts. You don't have to do the box like what I do right here. The reason I do it just to make sure that it looks nice and neat. You can always erase it after you draw it too. So that's another period right here. A lot of students ask me how to find the midpoint right here. Midpoint right here. So this one is really obvious. If it starts at negative pi over 6 is ending at pi over 6, the midpoint will have to be at 0. So this one right here will be at 0. So what happened? How do we find the midpoint right here? Well, in order to find a midpoint, we can use the midpoint formula. You can add the two endpoints together and divide it by 2. So let's do that. So we'll have pi over 2 plus pi over 6 divided by 2. Now, again, that pi over 2, we can turn that into a 3 pi over 6 by multiply 3 on top and 3 at the bottom. So 3 pi over 6 plus pi over 6 is 4 pi over 6 over 2. And then we have 4 pi over 6 multiplied by 1 over 2. Simplify to 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. The answer is 2 pi over 6, which is equal to pi over 3. So the midpoint for this one is equal to pi over 3. And then so on and so on. You can just add another pi over 3 to find another period of this graph cycle. I hope that's helped. Thank you for watching. And please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.